Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to make a bit of a different video because, well, as you might have already gathered, I'm not uploading so regularly currently. That's for two reasons. Mainly I'm working on my own point-and-click adventure, Cantaloupe Chronicle, and secondly I'm struggling a bit with health issues, but I didn't want to keep you hanging in here without having any new content, so I thought why not just do a short little fun video here, and I'm going to rank all the Sierra games that I have played because, well, probably if you look at the list below, there are still quite a few missing, most notably most of the King's Quest series because I did not play those and I'm not very eager to play them. I think they are just not my cup of tea, but I'm just going through all these games and I'm going to rate them on the scale from S to D. I could have gone lower. I was thinking about an F tier, but then I noticed, well, I just have too much love for all these games, so I probably never rated anyone below D anyway. I mean, objectively, some of those games are, well, at least gameplay wise, a bit of a stinker, but yeah, they just have so much charm and a big place in my heart, so I could not bring myself to rate them worse than a D here. Anyway, so without further ado, let's go through all these games and I'm going to tell you what I think of them. This happens in no particular order. I've just put them down there and we are going to start from the top left, and this is King's Quest 7, the only King's Quest game I've ever played, and I do have quite nice memories of the game. I really like the art style and I thought it was quite lighthearted, and from what I remember it wasn't too hard. I think you can't die in the game, so I really appreciated that, but it's been a long time since I last played that game and I'm a bit afraid to go back to it because, well, I've heard not so many good things about it, so probably it's just the nostalgia and it's just better in my memory, but I'm going to keep it at that for now and I'm going to give this game a B. It's not a standout game that's has a big part in my memory. I don't remember it very often, so it's not getting ranked higher, but what I do remember I quite liked. Okay, next we have our first series, and as you can see we have Police Quest 1, 3 and 4. I've never played the second game. I've seen a lot of videos about it and maybe I should get to it at one point, but well, for now I'm just going to rate the first three games, but the first four games without the second game. Yeah. Okay, first game, the first Police Quest. I have to tell you something about that. That is actually the first graphic game I've ever played, because before that we only had a 386 that did not come with any graphics card whatsoever, so I was only able to play games in text mode, and Police Quest 1 was the first game that actually had graphics that I was able to play on a home computer. So obviously this has a special place in my heart, and yeah, I don't think I've ever got far in that game because I had the English version. I'm not quite even sure if the game was ever translated into German, and I played that game back then when I just started learning English. I think that was exactly the time, and I was still remember I was in the office of my mom's office while playing the game, and I always grabbed the German-English dictionary and tried to come up with words. So my goal in the game was never to play through the game, but just to do anything that the game responds positively to. So even opening a door, looking at a sign, that were the small victories I had. And I do remember I was able to get far enough to actually get to the driving part, but that was probably where I got stuck. I think I never managed to find out where I had to go. Nevertheless, I still remember this game quite fondly, and I might go back to it. I was considering on several occasions to play the VTA version, so maybe I'm going to do that at some point, but for now, well, not because the game is exceptionally great, but just because I have great memories of it, I'm going to put this on the A tier here. Next we have Police Quest 3. I also like this game very much because I still remember that my older sister brought me a not completely legal copy of the game from one of her friends, and I still remember when she gave me this game that she said this game is photorealistic, and man, she was right. I was so blown away by the digitized images, at least of Jim Walls sitting with his legs spread wide on her police car. and just for this animation itself, well, I really think it's great in that way. I mean, yes, the gameplay is pretty crappy. There are many dead man walking situations there. The story doesn't make any sense at all, but I think it's still quite entertaining at least, so that's okay. The graphics, I still remember the car models, the vehicles in this game, they look really amazing. You oftentimes have this isometric, a bit of unusual style in the game, which doesn't really work with the perspective most of the time, but the cars look pretty great and I appreciated that. So I'm going to put this on the B tier, but above King's Quest? Yeah, I think. So yeah, it's hard to say. It could be A, but I'm trying to not to overhype the games, because there are some games that I really love coming later on, so I'm going to put this there. Okay, now for Police Quest 4, this is probably the most controversial part in the series. For one, it was the first game that was not completely, at least, directed by Jim Walls, but by a very I think infamous person in the US. I don't know the whole backstory. I know that there are racist cliches in here. Unfortunately, we have those in a few of the other games as well, but maybe they get away with it because it's more humorous, and Police Quest definitely is not joking around, you could say, and has some very bad stereotypes. Still, I love this game, and that's for a single reason, and it's the aesthetics. I'm just a sucker for digitized images. I just love using photographs or using digitized sprites in this case, because I really think it captures the essence of the 90s. And there are some great locations in there, almost like a time capsule of the time. And for that reason alone, I really love it. And I think it was the first Police Quest game. I'm not sure I played it through the whole thing, but I still remember that I was able to make some decent progress in this game and not just die all the time. You don't have a driving minigame, which is definitely positive for these games. So people might wonder about that or did not expect it, but I'm going to rate this a B, and actually above Police Quest 3. So it's not a great game. It has a very strange tone, but yeah, just from the nostalgia and the aesthetics alone, I rate it quite highly. Okay, next we get to Freddy Farcus. To me, that was always a bit of an odd Sierra game. It never got a sequel. It has its very own style, and it was at least co-written. I'm not sure if it was completely written by L. Love, but I think it was co-written by him. And you can feel that because the humor is quite similar to Larry. Not so many sexist jokes, you could say, but yeah, more racist jokes. Well, if you prefer one over the other. But yeah, not wanting to overplay that, the game actually, to me at least, is very funny in many regards. There are a few jokes that are hard to take in, but overall it's still a very funny game, and it has a lot of charm. I really like the Western theme in there, even though I'm not a big fan of actual Western movies, but yeah, the light-hearted tone and the cartoony graphics and the music, everything comes together. And then you have this yeah, you could almost say mini game where you have to mix together the medicine. I didn't care for that too much. It felt a bit tedious for me, but it stuck in my head because it was something special. And I don't think I ever played through this completely. I'm pretty sure I didn't, because yeah, there are also some puzzles that are, yeah, a bit of moon logic, or a lot of moon logic, you could say. Still, just going back to the game, just playing the first 30 minutes of the game always brings back nice memories to me, so I'm going to rate this quite highly. It's also going to be an A for me here. Okay, next we got a big one, the Leisure Suit Larry series, and as you can see, I've played through all of them but one. I have not yet got to play the second one, and the third game I just started recently. I've not completed it yet, but I'm planning to. But yeah, I'm far enough into the game that I think I can give it a ranking here. I did not include the new Larry games because, well, we are only talking about Sierra games here, and they are, strictly speaking, I think, not Sierra games, but they are great. You should check them out if you ever liked the Leisure Suit Larry games or good point-and-click adventures in general. They are really well made and quite fun and clever, and that is a real feat for these games, I think, because the humor aged quite poorly for the old games, but the new games were able to keep the humor intact but still reflect on that humor a bit better and make it more modern. So I think they really did a good job with that. Now you might wonder, why did I put the Larry 1 Reloaded here, not the original Larry 1? Well, I did play the original Larry 1, but only at a friend's house on the Amiga. And I just recently played the Reloaded, the remaster of the first game, you could say. I'm not sure how different they are. I think the game is a bit fairer in difficulty because, yeah, I was able to play through the whole game without a walkthrough. I think, no, I had to refer to a walkthrough once or twice, but it was okay, and I never died in the game, so I think the difficulty is probably toned down a bit. The graphics are, they are of higher quality, you can say. They are modernized. It feels a bit clunky. It's not very polished. You don't get the feeling that this is a real experienced team doing a AAA production here, but it's okay. It's serviceable. And with that said, well, gameplay-wise, I probably would put this above all the others, I have to say. And if I take the charm from the original game maybe and combine that, I still, just from a gut feeling, I'm going to put it on the A list, that's for sure, but below the other two games. Okay, so yeah, I probably speed this up a bit. As I said, Larry 3, not yet played through it, but just started it. No, not just started it, I guess. I'm about 50% in. I enjoy it. The EGA graphics are fine, though I don't like how Larry is depicted in this game, because on the different screen he is not very consistent. He looks quite differently on each screen. The humor also feels a bit lame. No, like they couldn't come up with new jokes. It felt a bit a routine, not so witty to me so far. It's okay, it's not bad, but to me it wasn't the funniest Larry game. So yeah, I'm going to put this as a C. It's okay, it's cool, but to me it's not standout. Probably maybe because I don't have nostalgia for it. Okay, now we get to Larry 5, and this is interesting because visually I really like this game. It was the first VGA game in the series as far as I know. I'm not quite sure if the VGA remake of the first game came before it, but other than that, the first original VGA game. And I really liked that the game is the first one that really translates the look from Larry on the cover art into the game itself. And it's looking great. The premise is a bit strange because it's not so much about Larry getting laid, but more about espionage and trying to look into a big conspiracy that's going out, whatever. That would all be great, but I replayed it recently and it was such a frustrating experience because, well, I thought I'm going to play as far as I can get, and when I'm stuck I'm going to use the walkthrough. That's normally how I approach these games. And I got quite far and I was happy. I had a lot of fun with the game, and then I got stuck, and then I looked at the walkthrough and it said, yeah, you have to put the tape in your video record in your camera. And I didn't have a tape, and then I stepped back in the walkthrough and see where should I have gotten the tape, and that was in almost the very first scene, so about 2 hours ago in real time, and I missed the tape and there was no way to get back, so I had to start over all again, or well, I would have to start over all again, but I was so frustrated that I didn't want to do it. So fair warning here, there are real harsh dead man walking scenarios in there, and that threw me off a bit. One day I want to go back to it and play through it with a walkthrough from the beginning, not going to risk it anymore to play it by myself. But just for this reason alone, I have to put it on the C tier as well, probably after Larry 3 in that regard. Okay, then we're getting to Larry 6. And this is, I can go for, here, this is an S tier to me. Larry 6 to me actually is the best Sierra game ever made. And I stand by that, yeah. I just recently played through it again, and it's still amazing to me. I'm not sure why it's not, it didn't get more appreciation, maybe because of the humor. I know that many people are quite sensitive to it, and yes, Larry in this game is a bit of a dick. He's very selfish, but I don't care playing a selfish protagonist. To me, Larry always was a bit of a dick, so whatever. that didn't, that wasn't a big deal to me. But what I really love about the game, I really like the puzzle design and the overall structure, and how, well, the structure is that you have all these girls that you pursue, and then you always have parts where you can progress towards one girl, and then you unlock something and you can progress to the next girl, and you have these parallel puzzle chains that you can switch between. So if you are stuck on one girl, you can't continue, then you always have another puzzle chain that you can fall back to, and this has a really nice rhythm. And almost all of the puzzles, really from the top of my head, I can't remember a single puzzle that didn't at least make some sense to me. And yeah, I really like the location as well. The music, I adore the music of the game. I mean, it's a bit repetitive, but that main theme when you're going through the hotel, yeah, it's just great. It's going to be stuck in my head forever. And yeah, the game looks great. I prefer the high-res version of the game that came on CD. That also came with great voice acting. I really enjoyed the voice acting as well. Some people prefer the original VGA version, and I can see that there are a few things that might look a bit better when it's left up more to imagination, but yeah, I don't care. I really enjoy the SVGA version. So to me, this is almost the perfect game. I'm not aware of any dead ends, dead man walking scenarios, unfair death, or anything like that. You can just reset right before you die, so it's not even a big issue, and it feels actually quite modern. I think you could release these games today, and it, well, not modern from the humor and from the themes, but from the gameplay, and it would still work fine. And then we get to Larry 7, which is also a great game, but I do rate it a bit lower. It is S tier, that's okay, but there are a handful of puzzles that are really hard and difficult for me and really don't make much sense. And there's a bit of pixel hunting, and then I really don't like the interface so much. I know many people praise the interface as the perfect interface because besides just pointing and clicking, you can also interact with items and then type in commands like with the text parser. And if that was just for flavor reasons, I would think it's great. If that would be very important and you would be taught to use it over and over, and there was some sort of pattern how to use it, that would also be great. But in reality, I think there are in the whole game maybe 2 or 3 puzzles where you have to type in very specific sentences, very specific verbs that to me didn't stand out. The game didn't give you any hints that now you have to use this interface and you can't just click on it. So that, yeah, I felt it was the worst of both worlds and not the best of both worlds, and that was the biggest letdown for me. Other than that, I prefer the pixel art of the 6th game, but yeah, the cartoon graphics are really gorgeous as well. The production value for Larry 7 is really out of this world. It looks amazing. It has so many animations. Yeah, it could just come straight from a Saturday morning cartoon, or maybe even a Disney movie. That's the quality you get there. And the location is also really interesting. The whole game takes place on the yacht, and or on the cruise ship more. Yeah, I'm just saying yacht because the German title is Yacht nach Liebe, which is a very stupid wordplay, but Yacht, the German word for yacht. Nevertheless, great game, still not my number 1 spot here. Okay, now we get to an oddball game, The Adventures of Willie Beamish. It was published by Sierra but developed by Dynamics and not by Sierra. Still, I thought I could put it here on the list because I just recently played through it for the first time. I did use a walkthrough extensively though. And the game starts out to me really great because, well, you're just this teenage boy in the 90s and you're doing teenage boy stuff, and that was really amazing and I had fun with it and I didn't have any issues progressing the game as well. But later on there's the bigger story, the more dramatic story that you have to save your father and stuff like that, and that didn't really connect with me so much. So from that part I felt it went a bit downhill, and the puzzles sometimes are really bad, I would say, because there are many puzzles that involve timing, so you have to click on stuff very fast or at a certain time, which is not that great, but I do love the presentation. It's very charming, and the tone of the game is also all over the place, but to me in a positive way, because it's very edgy, it's very 90s, it's for children but not for children, it's quite mature while at the same time it looks like a cartoon. I'm going to give this a B, and probably the highest B rating of these. I did enjoy it very much, and it's quite unique, so I think it deserves this ranking. Well, now we get to the next big series, to me the Space Quest games, and Space Quest 3 actually was the first game that I owned in a big box. I still remember having that. I did a whole video on that if you want to look at my channel videos. So without further ado, Space Quest 3 is an A, but I'm going to put it maybe between Freddy Farcus and Larry 1. It's a great game from the perspective of a story, of the world building. I just love that the graphics were gorgeous for EGA graphics, but the puzzles, sometimes they were fair, but there were just a few stinkers, a few dead man walking scenarios. If they did cut those one out, it would have been a really great game, but that's just too much to make it to the S tier list to me. And then we got Space Quest 4. I have to put this. Okay, it gets a C because it really looks cool and I like the time traveling scenarios and the humor is really great in this. So that's going for it. But the gameplay, it was just, it was hard to get through. Back then when I played it, I had a walkthrough book. I bought that actually at the store. Without that, there would be no chance in hell for me to get through that game. But with it, I was able to complete it, but still, it was quite hard. It took me quite a while to get everything right. And there are just so many dick moves in there. I can't rate it higher for this reason. And last but not least, we have Space Quest 5. And I'm going to rate this an A tier, but on the top list. Space Quest 5 to me is the best Space Quest game. It looks great. I really like the style. It's quite similar than Space Quest 4, but it has some very unique locations. I really enjoy the space bar where you spend some time in, and that you have your own spaceship is really great. It has this almost of a Star Trek atmosphere. The humor is still great, and the best thing is the gameplay is the best of all the games. Still you can die, still there are a few really annoying puzzles in there, but it's a lot better and it's a lot more intuitive than the other games. I mean, it's not so far away from Space Quest 3. You could say they are quite comparable, but I would say that it's a step up from that. If you ignore the last puzzle with a maze that, for whatever reason, every Sierra game has to have at the end. But if you ignore that, it's really a great game. Now we get to something completely different, the Phantasmagoria games. I did not play through either of them, but I have watched videos to see everything those games have to offer, so I feel qualified to rank them. Phantasmagoria, the first game, it has a great premise, I think, and I really liked, as I said before, the digitized sprites when you walk around and the FMV part of it, but the game is, to me, a bit boring, I have to say. Yeah, it feels a bit drawn out. There's not a lot of stuff happening for the most time, and it's always just not so much puzzle solving, but more trial and error, click on everything until something happens and the game just progresses. So I was a bit disappointed when I played it myself for the first time. So I'm only going to give this a C. Is it worse than Space Quest 4? I would say yes, because Space Quest 4 just had a lot more charm. I do like the charm of FMV, but yeah, Space Quest 4 is a lot more unique. And then we have the sequel, and you might be surprised, I'm going to rate this, yeah, actually above Space Quest 4. And that's just because when I played it, I played only the first half. And I know about the second half and how bad the game is going to get. But the first half is really great in my opinion. It's very entertainment, it has very likable characters, I really like the actors, and the puzzles, well, they are quite easy. They are not so much puzzles as, well, you just talk to people and sometimes you have to click on something and combine something. There are one or two in there that are a bit stupid, but yeah, just because there are not many combinations, not a lot of stuff to do, you will eventually figure it out. It's not that hard. And I really like the chemistry also between the actors. I really thought that was fun, and it felt quite, it has this B-movie feeling, and in a great way, so they really nail that. I'm also a big sucker for 80s and 90s horror movies, and it really lands those notes. So at least play the first half of the game and then maybe do it as I did and stop playing, because actually I stopped playing because the game crashed on me, and I didn't have a save game for quite a time, and then I just said, oh, you know what, I'm good, I had enough, I've seen what I wanted to see, and probably that was the best decision I could have made. Now we get to the Gabriel Knight games, and yeah, these games are great. I mean, I don't think I'm going to surprise you with that. What might be surprising to you is that I'm going to put Gabriel Knight not on S tier, but only on A tier and below Space Quest 5. I love the setting. I think it's very original. It's different than any other of the games. It's not the Quest games always had this gimmick. This is the fantasy games, King's Quest. This is the space game, Space Quest. This is the horny dude game, Larry. But Gabriel Knight seems to be more deep. You can't just point to one thing and say, okay, this is what all the game is about. I really enjoyed for that. I do like the main character, even though he's quite a dick as well, or he can be at least in many situations, but as I said before, I don't mind that too much with my protagonist. The graphics are real nice for this game as well, really nice pixel art. I love the location of New Orleans. I dig all the voodoo stuff, even though I have no clue about that, but yeah, to me that's very exotic and interesting. That's great. The music is also amazing for this game. Man, I do love the intro music. I've watched the intro I don't know how many times just for the music. That said, I don't like the ending very much, especially gameplay wise, and even story wise. I felt it was a bit foreseeable, not that interesting, because it is teased throughout the whole game, this big mystery, and then at the end when it happens and it comes true, you can say, it was a bit disappointing to me. I mean, it made sense, that's the most important thing, but other than that, and and there were also a few puzzles that I really didn't care for, where timing was important and you have to be at the right time, at the right place, and do some stuff that to me didn't feel very intuitive. I know other people have other opinions here, but to me that held back the game a little. And then we get to the second game, and this, to my big surprise, I think I'm actually going to rate it an S. Yeah, S or very high A. And I did not expect that. I always thought, they went with the FMV route back then because it was just the cool thing to do, and well, oh man, the first game had such nice pixel art and was a great classic point-and-click adventure, and now they have to ruin the old franchise. And then I played it because I heard many, many good things that I just couldn't believe them. I have to say it. I just thought, oh man, that was nostalgia from people playing that. But an FMV game that's actually good, that's impossible. I've never played an FMV game that's actually good. That said, I have to play the Tex Murphy games at some point. I never played those. And yeah, from what I've heard, they are amazing. Yeah, and then I played through the game. Was it last year? Last year or 2 years ago. I actually played the German version, which is very good because it's a lot. Yeah, I can't even explain why it's so funny, but it's because many jokes of the original would not work if the characters spoke German anyway, and they did this very inconsistent, illogical, stupid localization of it that's just amazing and hilariously funny at some points, and it fits very well with the tone because the whole game is silly. Yeah, it's almost a bit like you're playing a Monty Python sketch, and it works because the game doesn't take itself too seriously. You can see that people are having fun making this game. Yeah, and the puzzles in this game are actually great with just 2 exceptions. There is the infamous Kuckuck's Clock puzzle that doesn't make any sense at all, and I still think this is a bad joke by the designers or something, or they lost a bet or whatever. So this puzzle is really, really stupid, but yeah, man, you have to look it up and then get over with it. And then obviously you have the last passage with a maze again. I didn't find it too hard to solve, so maybe I got a bit lucky, so it wasn't too bad for me, but I know that people really struggle with that, and I can see why they do, because yeah, it's kind of annoying and it's also not interesting to play, but other than that, the game has great charm. The setting is extremely unique. Playing in Munich, which is just an hour drive away from here, so I know these locations myself, and it has all these part of German history that's not much talked about, because it's, especially in American media, German history is all about World War II, and that's about everything anyone knows about our history. But this game is about King Ludwig and a complete different part of German history that's also quite interesting, and you do learn 1 or 2 things. Yeah, it's a great game. I highly recommend it. And then we get to EcoQuest. And now EcoQuest is going 2nd place. This, to me, is the 2nd best Sierra game. And I know this might be a bit, yeah, weird, because many people just dismiss this game as a children's game. And they're right, this game is made for children, and it's quite obvious. But still, this game is great. Yeah, you should not dismiss it for that fact. And the puzzles are, they make more sense, and they are easier than in the other Sierra games. But that does not mean that they are just stupid and you can just click through the whole game. This is actually the kind of difficulty and kind of logical puzzle progression I would wish for in the other Sierra games. I know, especially back then, you wanted to have a hard game, you wanted to spend a lot of time in the game, and that was all on purpose, and I do understand that. But man, EcoQuest is really a breath of fresh air here. You can go through the game and it's just so adorable. I love underwater worlds in general, and this game is so beautiful when you're diving for the first time and you get to this underwater city with all the funny, quirky characters. And yes, the voice acting is something else, you could say. Those were not professional voice actors for the most part. Especially the main character is just a kid talking, and that can be annoying. But in the end, I mean, you don't have to play the CD version. You can just tone down the voiceover if you don't like it. But overall, at a certain point, I got used to it, and then I started to kind of enjoy it because it fits this very innocent tone of the game. Yeah, it's all. I mean, it's called EcoQuest. It's about being eco-friendly, but it's not hammering that home very strongly or over your head. It just has a nice message, I think, and it's yeah, and it's quite atmospheric and quite epic actually. So there's quite a lot of suspense in the end. I think some children will definitely got nightmares from that game. I was a bit older when I played it at first, so that was no issue for me. But yeah, I just adore this game. It's so nice, it's so lovely, it has these great graphics, it has great puzzles. If it was just... I don't even know what I would improve on the game. Yeah, to me it's almost perfect. And then we have the second game, and I'm going to rate that quite a lot lower. Probably here, probably on top of the B list. It's still a great game. It's a bit of a longer game, which probably is good because EcoQuest is the first game is relatively short. It changes the setting, which I still think Rainforest is a great setting. I really enjoy it. I mean, who doesn't like Rainforest Cafe or Rainforest and Jungles? It's exciting, but in this game it's not that exciting. Yeah, it's a lot of walking around, talking to people, and it's quite a bit more abstruse. The puzzles are quite a bit harder to get and not... they make sense in their own way, but you have to decipher stuff, and it feels a lot more gamey and a lot less of an adventure you go on. And yeah, the graphics have improved technically, but yeah, going through a jungle where everything is green and brown, it's just a bit more boring, at least to me. So it's a good game, it's maybe a great game, but it just, yeah, it didn't hit the vibes like the first game did. It was just a bit more forgettable, a bit less unique, whatever. Okay, then last but not least, or maybe last but least, we have the Dagger of Amun-Ra. I really love the idea of the game. I really love the cover. I really love ancient Egypt. What do you even pronounce it? Egypt? Well, you know what I want to talk about. Ancient Egypt. Let's just keep it at that. And it takes place in a museum, which also kind of is a great location, but then again, it's a bit boring because it's very static. And you have a main character that's quite quirky and funny, and she is this young woman in a world that's ruled by men, and she's trying to make her part. There's a lot of charm in there, but it starts out okay, but I feel when it actually gets to the main point, the museum, man, the gameplay is really rough. Having to figure out where you have to go, you're able to miss so much stuff. And yes, it's not an instant game over in this game. It's a bit similar to the Colonel's Bequest, though I have not played that. Yeah, maybe I did, but for 15-20 minutes, so I'm not going to put that on the list. But yeah, there are so many things that you just have to go trial and error, that you have no idea what's happening where and stuff like that. And it also felt a bit boring to me. So I like the charm, I like the idea, and I understand that people that like murder mystery more than I do might really appreciate it, but it's just not my cup of tea. Yeah. Though, having said that, with the walkthrough, I played through it, and I definitely, yeah, I did not, yeah, I still had a great time with that. So I would still recommend doing that if you're interested in these kind of games. But yeah, I would definitely recommend a playthrough if you want to do that. And that's it for the list here. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have different opinions, and I'm pretty sure you do, put them in the comments below. Stay tuned for new videos. Can take a while, apologies for that. But I try to get back into a more regular schedule after I released Cantaloupe Chronicle, and then we're going to see us here, so don't forget to subscribe and you'll be notified of that. And with that, see ya!